Welcome to a special edition of the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hello, hello. We have not only one guest here today, but they've also brought a friend. Hello, Might of Geberra.
Hello,
and friend.
How is everyone doing today?
Mirror Predeterminism. Welcome to the show.
Man, it's good to be here because Gabor, what did he pay, like $100, and then he brought me out here. I feel bad because I didn't even pay anything.
Nah. Don't feel bad about that. Just you know how you can pay me back? Just help me with this episode.
Yeah, sure thing, man. Sure thing.
So, for those folks who don't know you already, Might of Geberra, Mirror Predeterminism, who are you and what is it that you do on the interwebs?
Okay, well, I'm the Might of Geberra. One of my hobbies is coding and making fictional power scaling videos. Although I've grown more of an interest in Sonic's worldview and cosmology over the time, and yeah, it's pretty out there. I gotta tell you.
Alrighty.
And, as for me, I'm basically planning on getting my rep for YouTube and on Discord and stuff. I basically like to analyze fictional stories, talk about character analysis, philosophies for them. And, just basically anything I find interesting. I like a lot of anime and video games and stuff, especially Capcom. I just love Street Fighter 6.
Nice.
Cool. So, we've established who we are. We've established where we are. What you want to do with your time?
Okay. We'll just ask a series of questions or clarify some things, and that'll be the end of it. Also, Dad, Mom, Big Brother, friends, I'm internet famous. Shout out to you guys.
We can take turns. You can go first and then I go second.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Go for it.
Okay. So, you're gonna hate me for this, but we've covered this in the BumbleKast lives, but people aren't going to stop asking you unless they get a direct answer. So I kind of want to save you guys from that. So basically, you agree, Ian, that the concepts of mathematics exist in Sonic's world, right?
I don't see why not.
Exactly. Geometry...
Before we go any further with this, let me just specify, I am not the singular authority on Sonic. I mean, I know a lot of trivia. I've worked with the franchise for a long time, but I am not the word of God on the franchise.
Yeah, but, people like to have other eyes and other minds who might have insight on the series.
I feel like it's particularly insightful. I mean, clearly there's some degree of engineering because they build machines. Engineering is based on math. So one could assume there's math. I don't find that hard a concept to grasp.
Exactly.
Why is that controversial?
Let's just say it's obvious to people like me and you, but not to other people. Now, let me go into the next phase of what I wanted to say. Geometry is part of math, right?
Yes.
As far as I've understood it.
Yes.
Given my grades, maybe don't take me at face value, but yeah.
Okay. Now, geometry covers things like higher dimensions. So, if we said that Sonic's universe contains the concepts of mathematics, it would cover geometry, which would cover the concepts of higher dimensions. So, there is a possibility it could be extra dimensional or whatever have you. It could be infinite dimensional or whatever. Dimensions aren't really a hard concept to grasp. At least visualizations and pictures of it. So I think that's where I stand. I think it's agreeable, but what do you think, Ian?
Sure.
All right.
I'm no mathematician. I'm no theoretical physicist. I'll take your word for it on this breadcrumb trail.
All right. And the last thing, you already told me personally that any variation or permutation of the, hey, does this mathematical thing exist in Sonic? The answer is yes, right?
I guess. I mean, math is math, is it not? As long as it's a proven, what do they call it? I'm trying to conjure math
No,
classes years ago.
Don't strain yourself too hard.
Don't stress yourself out.
Proof.
I already
Mathematical proof.
got what you're saying. Everyone got
There we
what
go.
you're saying.
Yeah, we got it.
I mean, if it's real math, I don't see why not. I mean, it's not like 100% applicable because real world physics obviously doesn't apply to Sonic. It's full of goofy cartoon logic, but
I agree with that.
just, the idea that someone's going to write a 1 + 1 = 2, sure. Why not?
I know what you're saying. And that's perfect. And you said that everything exists in Sonic's multiverse. That will never change.
Within the scope of the franchise, sure.
Yes, got it. Okay, Mir, you can ask your question.
Oh yeah, so does the Psi in Psi loop stand for like cyclone or cyberspace?
I'm assuming cyberspace, but I'm not sure myself.
It does seem to be cyberspace. Yeah.
That seems the most likely, yeah.
Yeah, because that's where his powers in Frontiers are coming from, is from cyberspace. So
Exactly. I was arguing with a friend on this.
Okay, so Ataro Toyota supervises the worldview and setting of Sonic the Hedgehog, right? And what's your relationship with him, and how high of an authority is he on Sonic, to your knowledge?
I'm not 100% certain how the hierarchy falls out, to be honest, but as far as I know and as far as I'm concerned, he is my superior, and he would have to sign off on whatever I would propose at my level.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's good. Okay. Mir?
Okay, so after reading Sonic Universe issue 67, I realized how much Shadow and Knuckles like click together as rivals in the literal sense more than Sonic and Shadow ever did, like pretty much after Sonic Adventure 2. So is it possible that the Sonic series could ever like acknowledge this dynamic in the continuity again? Or like and then also who do you think is like has better martial arts and combat skills in general between Shadow and Knuckles?
I think it's always an option and fun to mix and match the characters, see what their dynamics are. I wouldn't imagine that a Sonic and Knuckles and Shadow story would be too much different, because that period of universe I was more or less writing as if these were mainline characters anyway. And sorry, I already lost what the second half of your question was.
Basically I said who has like better combat skills in general.
Yeah. They both seem equally disciplined and trained, and they're both incredibly strong. I don't know if I could pick one over the other necessarily.
Gabora?
Okay. I kind of had a... Okay, so this is a fuzzy topic. I know that Archie isn't like canon to the games insofar as in it doesn't happen in that particular universe, but there's this one specific part of Archie comics that has me questioning the canon, and I think you can guess, it's something that Sega approved of with Capcom. It's Sonic and Mega Man Worlds Collide. I'm not talking about the sequel. I'm talking about the first one. Now, there are some hints that it may have been canon. I think, one, Sega approved of it to be published. Two, there are comic strips that say that it happens at the end of Sonic Generations. And three, it was promoted by Sega themselves, and the official Sega account said that it happens in the it happens in each of their respective video game universes. So I was wondering, was it canon? Is it still canon? How does that work? You said the intention was that Worlds Collide Sonic was basically Game Sonic?
At the time, yeah, but because of its association with Archie, that kind of legally poisons the well. So in terms of modern Sonic as it is, I wouldn't consider it canon, no.
Okay, got it. Mir, you can go.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on a Sega versus Capcom game since Sonic's becoming more combat focused?
I'm surprised we haven't had it already.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. We've talked about this before. Like, it's so weird. Sega has a lot of fighting game franchises. Capcom, of course, is like the king of fighting game franchises. There's really no reason why it shouldn't exist, but here we are.
I mean, if they announce it tomorrow, all is forgiven. Just give it. Make it. Please.
It's gonna be peak fiction.
Actually,
my God,
I just saw
would love
somebody putting together their own like fan roster, or maybe it's their own fan game or something, and they had Vice in the mix, and it's like,
Yep.
yes, you are correct. Proceed.
Yeah, I saw that too. I'm like, yep. Wonder if Ian saw this. Turns out you did.
I think I'm just like drawn to it. Perhaps if I complain enough online, the universe will align to my needs.
Here's hoping.
I mean, I wonder how Ristar and Knights would play.
Very stretchy for Rystar, yeah.
Oh, his reach would be insane.
It's like putting Rayman in your fighting game.
Gabora.
Okay, going off of the previous question that I had, you mentioned on Reddit, I think that was you anyway, that canon in Sonic is dependent on what Sega approves of or is applicable to the brand. How does that work?
Well, it's their brand, so whatever they say goes. Like, for a while, it was operating under the notion of there being two worlds, the animal world and the human world, and some of the games were written within that context, even though the division was never really implicitly stated. And then later it was decided, no, we're not going to work with that premise anymore. So now it's just one world, and that vision is now retroactively applied to everything that has come before.
Oh, okay. And you said that okay. So you said that the things on the Sonic channel, like, they're being treated as canon. Were you told that, or is that just an assumption?
That's my assumption.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't see why not, but I did not receive like an official memo or anything.
Except for the isekai stuff, probably. That's my assumption, would be that those are not like necessarily canon to the mainline universe, at least. But
the thing with the isekais, from my understanding, is that there is a setup premise.
okay.
Eggman did some mad science, and we're seeing like weirdo split off realities or whatever, but I'm assuming it's all going to wrap up at the end saying, wasn't that a weird adventure, and now we're back to normal. So it's effectively harmless.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay, so it's been like a while since I played Sonic Rush. I remember last time there was like two endings, you know, if you beat Sonic as Blaze, there's this ending, vice versa. Like, did they already say which ending was canon?
I don't think there was like a divergent story. I think it's more like, because there's the Sonic and Blaze boss fight, and I think it's implied that it's more or less a draw by the end of it. Either Sonic has the upper hand or Blaze does, and then they move on to the rest of the game. So I don't think there's really a divergent storyline there.
Okay. Gabora?
Okay, Ian. I just want you to elaborate on this. You said if something is infinite in Sonic, that it's infinite in all its aspects and permutations. So, say the end of time in Sonic Generations Prima guide, it stated that it's a infinite tunnel dimension. So, like, would it be infinite in every single way, or just limited in infinite in some ways and limited in others?
Well, number one, the Prima guide, I don't know if that had any Sega eyes on it. It might just be the Prima guide. So anything that isn't, direct from the source, you don't necessarily want to take at face value as canon. But I would imagine the white void is, endless. If you just keep walking in one direction, you're going to just find more void.
Oh yeah, that actually ties into what the official Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter posted. In the pictures of how the ways Sonic has saved the world or beaten Eggman, it said that the white void is an endless place. That was shocking. I wasn't sure if it was actually infinite or not.
Yeah.
Well, it is timeless too. Like, as in, there's no time there.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Mir, you can go.
Okay, so basically, I've been researching time travel apparently, and before I say this, I do have a visual image in case you get confused. But essentially, if you go to the past, you'll go to a different timeline, and if you try to go to the future, you'll go to a timeline where you went to both the past and the future, so you can never go back to the original universe. What do you think of that?
That's one theory, yeah. No real way to test it.
Here it is.
yeah.
So the key principle here is that you go to the past, that past becomes your present, therefore you cannot return to your original future because you've altered the past, thus creating a new future.
Yep, that's pretty much the basis of it.
Yeah,
Essentially,
just
just time traveling more makes more universes or timelines.
Yep. That's definitely a thing that could happen. I don't know. I've never done it, so I couldn't tell you for sure. But
All right, Gabora.
all right. Okay. So the whole Sonic Forces promotion of Infinite being the strongest foe Sonic has faced. I went to Ataro Toyota about it and asked him about whether or not Infinite being Eggman's masterpiece was true at the time, and he said Eggman certainly said so. And this got me thinking. He could potentially be above the Phantom King, or at least the base. He could be above Eggman's previous inventions, or at the very least, he could be above the previous enemies or foes Sonic has faced in the past in his regular state, like his blue Sonic. So, Ian, would you say Infinite is above Sonic's previous foes that he fought in his standard form?
Without going through and putting a measuring stick to everyone ever, I guess, in terms of raw potential, the Phantom Ruby and the whole virtual constructs thing is kind of broken.
Yeah, it's pretty unbalanced. I'm still not sure. I think
you can maybe make a case to say Mephiles is more because time travel itself is even more broken since he can just flit around anywhere willy-nilly. But I don't know, when you get to that level of space and time manipulation, any kind of conventional scaling just kind of goes out the window. It's pointless at that point. They are just bad man, and Sonic still kicks him in the face and wins. Except for Mephiles. Mephiles just straight up shanked Sonic, so maybe the proof's in the pudding.
All right. Mir, you can go.
Okay, so here's a question from a friend. Is there an official list of what stuff is and isn't canon?
A growing list in terms of game events and aspects of games, and that's being cultivated now. Yeah.
Okay, and I want to elaborate on that. I want elaboration on that. Is this stuff being overseen by Takashi Iizuka and Ataro Toyota by any chance?
Yes, they're being approved by the bosses. Come on.
Yes, look, I just had to be sure, man. I just like to be sure. Okay, so here's my question. I always think that the games, anything that's in the games, contributes to Sonic's worldview in one way or the other, like a unified Sonic experience, even if it's not necessarily the same universe. Like Sonic Boom, it adds a little bit of information to Sonic's world and what kind of theories people might make on it. You also get a bit of feel of their culture with the jokes they make, that kind of thing. Is that, do you agree with that?
You don't want to read too much into everything, especially in Boom's case. Boom was, at least as far as the TV show went, a gag sitcom. There's only so much culture to be found in situational humor when the writing objective is to tell a joke, not necessarily world build.
All right. But
Okay.
otherwise?
To a degree, yeah. You sift through all the information provided and assess what is meant to be conveyed as world building, what is not, and take from it what you will.
All right. Mir, you can go.
Okay, so basically, there's this YouTuber named Aries Scarlet. He made a video called Downplay the Hedgehog episode 4.5, and he basically explains how the hero ending of Sonic Adventure 2 contradicts the last and dark ending, and like the information, it seemed to make like a lot of sense. So like, would you both consider checking it out on your own time?
I might have to avoid it just because this is me in ignorance. I haven't seen the video. I don't know his material. But if he is providing his own rationalization for story content, then that really would kind of boil down to a fan idea. And if I were to implement that in a professional capacity, that's me taking his hard work and using it myself. And that I try to avoid. So I think I kind of know already where he would be going with it. I think there's some hand-wavy explanations here and there, but not seeing it and probably shouldn't get involved with it within my professional capacity. I'm not going to, dismiss it either. I don't know what his rationale is or how much work he's put into it. So in general, I shall abstain.
Fair enough. Gabora?
This is more of a video game question. I guess it's kind of a lore question. Okay. So, in Sonic and the Secret Rings, Sonic is supposed to travel through the Arabian Nights, right? I think there's in the game, there's pages you collect for the Arabian Nights, and it's in the special book. I've always taken that as the Arabian Nights getting to know Sonic's adventures, because I noticed that in the Arabian Nights it contains Sonic Adventure, Sonic Shuffle, and a lot of the other events that Sonic has went through. Like, I don't know how you would explain that. It's a magical book. Sonic even says so in Sonic Generations. But would you take the menu looks like a page out of the Arabian Nights. So would you say that the entire game is part of the Arabian Nights or no?
I am a bit lost where you're going with this.
Okay.
In part because it's been a long time since I played Secret Rings, so I'm not sure what is being collected here.
It's okay. Okay. What other question can I ask? While I'm thinking about that, Mir, you go.
Okay, so this is a question from a friend. Considering that Sonic Mania is now canon to the main timeline, that brings a question. If Eggman didn't know about the Phantom Ruby as seen in the Sonic Forces prequel comic, and Sonic and Tails don't remember going through Sonic Generations as their classic selves, and why and how do they remember Sonic Mania but not that? Did the Phantom Ruby fuse the timelines after the events of Sonic Forces?
This ties back into your earlier question about what is canon, and it's whatever the licensor wants at the time. So as of Sonic Forces, there was an idea of two timelines, of Classic being its own thing, but then it was decided that they are all one timeline. So there's only so many cracks the plot spackle's going to cover. So if you want to say that the Phantom Ruby caused some timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly mental degradation, sure, that works.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like retconning.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of that.
Some of the retcons will be gentle. Some of them will be applied with a sledgehammer. There's only so much that can be done with a 30-year franchise. 30
Yeah,
years.
like I noticed that. Like in Sonic and the Black Knight, I recall Merlina saying that she wanted to make an endless kingdom, like a kingdom that never ends. But in the encyclopedia, it was changed to she wanted to freeze the world of Camelot instead. Like, that was purposeful revision, right?
No, it's the same thing, just worded differently.
Oh, okay. This comes from an anonymous person. He wanted me to ask this question. If the Sonic series continues to have Sonic perform crazy moves and attacks in future installments, do you think its consistency means we can begin to see this performed in the comics? It would be glorious to see Adam Bryce Thomas drawing Sonic performing the cross slash or Sonic Boom attack from Frontiers. That would be amazing.
Anything Adam draws is going to be gold, but from my understanding as of this recording, a lot of those flashy moves are Sonic channeling the cyberspace power to do all that funky stuff. I don't foresee him retaining that moving forward, but if and when the next major game comes out and he is doing that, then clearly I have a lot of crow to eat.
Delicious.
I know that Sonic is like shown to basically resist the time stuff, like time powers, like in Sonic Adventure 2 with the switchers. I think it was in Crazy Gadget, or it was the last story, like when you basically hit an orb, it just stops time and the entire environment. But like, I noticed that he did get affected by chaos control. Like, is there an explanation for that?
Well, a lot of characters could use those little time switches. So I'd imagine, my personal interpretation is that they were early chaos control experiments by Gerald, messing with, time stoppage and whatnot. Whereas chaos control, the technique, as used by Sonic, Shadow, Neo Metal, Metal Overlord, whatever, is something different.
I think I understand where you're going with this. Gabora.
Another cosmology question, but it's not going to be complicated. Do you think in the Sonic multiverse, there are worlds other than what could be, like possible?
I don't know if you can hear the confusion on my face.
Oh, yeah. Basically, there are worlds that are possible, and then there are worlds that are just outright illogical, like cartoony, contradictory, like
something that would be outside of what you would expect from the rules set by what's been established.
Yes.
I mean, from my understanding of the multiverse and its permutations, anything is possible. If there is any kind of bit, there is a bite to it, but we're talking at a scope that I don't think Sonic would ever touch upon, so I don't know.
Okay, so Mirror, I don't have any questions anymore, so I'm just gonna let you finish it off, like get the last questions in.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Right. So a hypothetical modern take on Knuckles Chaotix, like team up happens another time, with Ray joining the team up this time. So SPO and Mighty are rivals in Sonic the Comic, and they would be rivals here as well. The question is, who comes out on top between those two, and does everybody have what it takes to take down like a regular Neo Metal Sonic together?
Well, if you're asking Mighty versus SPO, that's your classic strength versus dexterity conundrum. And that will just come down to whatever your preference is, I guess.
Oh,
does the nimble ninjutsu overcome the unstoppable brute strength, or does the unstoppable brute strength, win with one hit? But if he doesn't make that hit, can he win? It's I've seen that circle go round and round. I ain't going in on it. It's whoever you want to win. That's the answer.
Actually, there's this channel called Dead Graphic. He does some fan ideas and stuff like that. I'm not telling you to watch it, Ian. But basically, there are times where the villain ends up winning. And it's like quite a shock because you don't expect it. You think that the good guy would always win because that's what's right. That's justice. I think those type of storytellings make like for some good possibilities.
Sure, see it all the time. As for a Chaotix reunion against, did you specify Neo Metal or Neo Metal Overlord?
Just Neo Metal, regular.
Yeah, they'd be able to eventually wear him down.
Yeah, they could take
Wouldn't
him.
be an easy fight. They'd be okay in the end. Ultimately, get Adam to draw. It'll be sick.
That would look so cool in cutscene, not gonna lie. So for the time post, that's just a game mechanic because the Japanese guidebook and manual say so, right? Like when he time travels, and it's like his actual speed that lets him time travel. Is it like the same for the American version, or is it just not his speed, but the time post that allows him to do those stuff?
I honestly don't know. I'm inclined to say that the signposts are a gameplay mechanic and not a lore thing, but I legit don't know.
Okay. What else we got here? Yeah. So here's another question from a friend. This is a question on Chronicles.
Oh yeah.
So he says, given all the trouble that Sega went through for years when it came to the lawsuit to keep the characters, these characters, Shay, the Nocturnus clan, and the Sonic Chronicles game as a whole not canon, is it because Ken Penders owns them, or because Sega said so? And how is Twitter Takeover more canon than Chronicles, if it even is canon?
I'm not going to weigh in on legality or business decisions because I honestly don't know myself. I've heard second and third hand stories. I have my own rationale, but I don't want to misrepresent anybody. So it's better that I don't comment on that. As for Twitter takeovers, they're not canon, but like soft canon.
Wait, what do you mean by not canon? I mean, it's canon, like it's approved by Sega, right? I mean, it's on the official Sonic Twitter. Like, that has to come from Sega somewhere.
It's also self-parody. Tails did not jettison Yacker off into space to murder him. It was a joke.
Maybe he should have, though. Yeah. No. Like, Twitter takeovers are more like treating the Sonic characters as actors in the various media instead of as the actual characters. So you do get some weird things. It kind of depends.
I think there's a compromise. I think there's a compromise for this. Just consider it secondary canon and supplementary material, if you want.
I mean, sure, if you
yeah,
want.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
If you want to accept it as hard fact, go for it. I ain't gonna throw a fit over it. Okay, I can tell you the intent, but I cannot control the opinions of the internet. That is a fool's errand.
See, and they do have social media according to the Sonic verse, so like the actor thing makes sense. Like they even had, like, when they were talking about Black Doom, things got iffy because apparently, I don't know, something with Shadow doing something with Black Doom.
I just remember he eats coffee beans. And that's fine.
Oh man, eating the coffee beans straight up.
Yeah. That should be canon if it isn't, but
The best part of waking up is Folgers and a spoon. Crunch, crunch.
Munch, munch, munch.
That's going to be canon in all of our hearts.
If it's not officially canon, then yes, it is at least canon in our hearts.
Yes. Oh yeah. Speaking of which, Ian, did you ever find out if the Steam description for Sonic, the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, was overlooked or approved by Sega? I asked this before, but
Yeah.
it was? Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd hope so.
Okay.
Let's see.
Mir, finish up. We don't have a lot of time.
Okay, so here's another question from a friend. This is the same person, by the way. He says, Zeno shows up to destroy a universe and Goku runs. Time Eater shows up to destroy the universe and Sonic tanked it in his sleep. How is Sonic losing to Goku?
Oh my god. This is gonna start a flame war, I can tell.
Well,
If you want the blue rat to beat the monkey man, fine. He wins.
Yes! Yes!
Oh yeah, what's your favorite Dragon Ball movie, by the way, guys? Like, you guys watch the Z movies, right?
Yeah. If we're counting everything, the new Broly.
Oh,
was just-
yeah.
Oh, that was exquisite.
It was the animation, the art style, the pacing. It was immaculate.
Well, you take something as kind of brain dead 90s hyper violent as Broly, and you turn him into this endearing, sympathetic character who goes through such an arc in such a short time. And all the callbacks to what came before. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, it's probably a hot take, but I like it more than the originals. Like, that movie is just amazing. Especially when they were like, that specific scene, when they clashed together and then just like shatter reality wherever they went and then just came back. That was cool.
Well, the bit that gets me is where Broly's finally, on his back foot and Frieza remembers killing Krillin. And that's what set Goku off. Puts those points together so he kills Paragus just to set Broly off. It was like, oh, that's using the canon. You're using things the characters learn and grow from their experiences. Yes!
Perfect callback. Dragon Ball should do that more often, not gonna lie. Man, did you guys watch Peak Fiction? I know people are gonna be hating on me for this, even though it's controversial, but it's still Peak Fiction in my heart. Did you guys watch Attack on Titan, Black Lagoon?
I've seen a couple episodes of Attack on Titan, and it's not my cup of tea. That kind of intensity, I just uncomfortable. And Black Lagoon, I have not seen anything of.
Attack on Titan, super dark toned. But
You're an Attack on Titan hater? Hang him!
Who, me? No, I just haven't seen it.
Oh,
Hang him!
Like, yeah, it's definitely dark toned. Like, it's basically you either can get into it because you have the tolerance for it, or you can't because it's dark. But with Black Lagoon, it's kind of like your rockish anime per se. Like, you seen Cowboy Bebop, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Cowboy Bebop is jazz and Black Lagoon is rock.
All right.
Nice.
All right, so are we down to our last question?
Yeah, one more for each of you.
Since Sonic characters are starting to become more like character focused, like story focused, like what I've been seeing in IDW and Frontiers, like, do you have like anything that you can tell me about that the Team Chaotix will get character arcs, like anything at all that's possible?
Can't spoil short-term, long-term plans. You'll just have to wait and see, and hopefully be happily surprised.
I hope so.
And Gabora?
Yeah, not gonna lie, I got nothing.
Perfectly
All right,
fine.
you go.
We've had a good old time.
All right.
Yeah, thank you guys for interviewing us.
Absolutely. Before we wrap up,
All right.
where can they find you online?
You guys can find me on my YouTube. Same thing as Mere Predeterminism. I've been pretty inconsistent on the uploading since I've been busy, but I'm going to get back into it. Make sure you check it out.
And me, you can find me on YouTube and on Twitter. It's the same as the name on this episode. My actual name is Tyler Renee Miller. It's a name my father gave me. You put the @ and Tyler Renee M. TYLERRENEEM. Look that up on Twitter, and you'll find my profile. And on my YouTube, I have 2 channels. The first one is out of style. I'm using the second one. I'm active on there. It's the Mighty Deborah 5882. So that's it for me. See you guys
All right.
later.
Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. If you want to be just as cool as Mida Gebra, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or become a YouTube member to get a guest spot of your own. Kyle, you got anything else?
Nope. Let's get out of here.
All right. Then be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Bye.
See ya.
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remix intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.